So we are live here, and I think we have a special guest. And I think we also have Vishakha with us today, who's the VP of WazirX NFT Marketplace. And we have Faridoon, right? So let me just first of all introduce to both of our guests. I think Vishakha, I think she's been a former Indian actress who's turned a film producer and also startup entrepreneur. And she started her journey into films in 2007, right? And she's produced some significant number of years, like kind of producing these films like Peddlers and Atkan and Chatkan, right? And we have Faridoon, who's an award winning entertainment journalist whose celebrity chat show Talking Films is a hugely popular show. And I think I'm quite curious about both of you that kind of how both of you landed in the NFT journey space. Please go ahead, both of you, Faridoon and Vishaka.
फरीदून आप स्टार्ट करें या मैं स्टार्ट करूं?
विशाखा अगर आप प्लीज स्टार्ट करेंगे दैट ग्रेट
श्योर. सो अर्चित, ग्रेट क्वेश्चन. देखिए, हम लोग फरीदून और मैं, हम दोनों एंटरटेनमेंट सेगमेंट से, और सब जानते हैं कि एंटरटेनमेंट सेगमेंट जो है बहुत ही रिस्की सेगमेंट माना जाता है. इट्स सपोज टू बी नॉट द कन्वेंशनल चॉइस ऑफ अ करियर, एंड बट देन वी आर पीपल हु फॉलो आवर हार्ट्स. सो रिस्क टेकिंग जो है ना, वो एक हमारा बड़ा कॉमन थ्रेड है. एबिलिटी कि आप वेदर आप एंटरटेनमेंट में हो या आप क्रिप्टो में हो या आप NFT में हो, अगर आपके अंदर रिस्क टेकिंग एबिलिटी तो आप कुछ भी कर सकते हैं. So well, I started off in 2007, as you said, in films, and then now I'm also a film producer. And साथ ही में मैंने अपनी startup journey I began. And during my startup phase, it was a very natural, transition from being in the fan engagement segment where we were building a chatbot tool to a SaaS tool for fan engagement, and then NFTs. Because if you see in तीनों में ही the common thread is community. Whatever we're building is for the community. And NFTs have turned out to be a great way to engage with your community, which now primarily exists on the blockchain. And I think same चीज़ शायद फरीदून के लिए भी होगी, कि ये जो जर्नी है हम अपना जरिया ढूंढ लेते हैं अपने ऑडियंस से कनेक्ट करने का. तो फरीदून, आई थिंक यू कैन देन शेयर योर पॉइंट्स ऑन दिस.
Vishaka, the other day when we were on Spaces, not yesterday, but one of the other days when I joined and you asked me a question and I responded. So and I told you that why I find Web3 fascinating and this space fascinating of NFTs and the crypto is because this is something that I feel that I'm part of the future, and maybe this is the first time that I'm part of the future. And then later when I realized, so I just was thinking. So in 2000, I came to Bombay and I started this entire .com. The .com wave had started, and I joined in this website called zlearn.com. And I've as a freelancer, I've contributed to a lot of .coms, and I've seen that journey. So somehow I think even Web2 kahin na kahin shayad I was part of that journey as well. So this is something that I realized later after that spaces, Vishaka. And interestingly, I had never thought that I'll be in front of the camera. I'm basically trained entertainment like a text journalist, like print journalist. Even though we were given the tools of broadcast as well when I did my course in Times of India, we had workshops from Karan Thapar and all these people. But I just looked at myself as a print journalist. So it was by chance that it happened that I got into the world of videos on internet, and that was in 2006. People had not heard about it at that point of time. When I came, I started my journey in Bollywood and Amab. Earlier, I was freelancing for them as India FM, and I started doing interviews on which are featured on a website. People had not heard about it. So I think somewhere I was part of Web2 at a nascent stage as well, as far as maybe the .com bubble that the way it happened in India, and then the concept of videos on internet. So and now I feel I'm so excited about this entire um, this NFT space and the Web3 and the possibilities that are there. I think it's brilliant. So I'm very excited. I think 2022 is going to be a great year. I'm
Right.
really excited.
Well, pleasure knowing it from both of you, actually. And but let me just tell to my audience that Faridoon has also sung over 200 ad jingles and has also released several singles based on the poetry of his father, right? And now Faridoon, it's a Genesis drop on the WazirX NFT Marketplace. So I think we're quite curious about it. So my first question to both of you is kind of, what benefits can the entertainment segment derive from the NFTs? Who
Well,
goes
if I
first?
go, I'll go first.
Sure.
I'll go first.
Of course, Vishakha, I've learned from her. So of course she goes first.
So बहुत simple है. If you're a creator, uh, entertainment segment has a different set of creators, and art has a different set of creators. But the one thing that benefits all of us is that with NFTs, whatever you have created, as long as you can prove the ownership of that, you can evidence it on the blockchain. That's one thing. Now, in the entertainment segment, imagine if you have, as a producer, when a writer comes to me, the first thing I ask a writer is your script registered? Then that means they have to go to the association where they've registered their script and come and give me that proof of registration. Similarly, if they do the same exercise on blockchain and register or evidence the script on blockchain, that's great. They don't really have to go looking for that document or to the association. It's already evidenced out there for everybody to see. Two is when you evidence it on the blockchain and you put it out as an NFT for sale or for trade, what happens is the NFT rights of that creation or the content that you've put out there are to be used and exploited commercially only on the blockchain. So if I have, say, my film posters that I have made for a film, now that is an expense for me. That same poster, I have done my expense, मेरी film release होने वाली है, मैंने poster shoot किया, मैंने poster को release किया. But that same poster, the moment I put it on blockchain, I can recover that cost of expense, right? And also share it with the community. Now that content, when it is sold again, suppose a collector buys it and it's sold again in the secondary market, I get royalties from that. So there is transparency in sale. There is, royalties for a lifetime. It is all evidenced on blockchain. And the best part is the NFT rights don't even conflict with any other rights in the offline space. I think that's a great benefit. And then, of course, you get to engage with your younger community, which is Gen Alpha and Gen Z and millennials.
Right. Faridun, what about you?
Um, I see a lot of possibilities as far as Bollywood is concerned, and in the world of NFTs. We're already seeing that Mr. Bachchan is already in the space. Sunny Leone has done it. Salman Khan is very active. Dabang collection has come out as NFT. So I think and a lot of people they are in the process of coming up with a lot of stuff. And what I'm personally very excited to see, and I hope that it happens because it will be something that can be spoken about beautifully. Um, since I'm a trained journalist, I'm very keen to see how things are documented, and I would love to see tweets of Shah Rukh Khan, for example, being sold as NFTs or being minted as NFTs, and see how people respond to it, because I think he's naturally very witty, and his tweets, they have always created a huge splash. So I've known Priyanka Chopra's journey on Twitter, for example, since when she was having 30,000 followers. I still remember there was a meet and greet that we were part of, and she told me that she was having 30,000 followers at that point of time, and he told me that proudly. So Priyanka is someone who I think she has a gift of gab, and many of her tweets, I think they will make for fantastic NFTs. And I'm saying it because of the way Jack Darcy's tweet was the first tweet was sold as an NFT, and that's so beautiful. And there are many possibilities. There are so many possibilities, and I feel a lot of artists and a lot of artists from yesteryears who may not be in a great shape now, for example, financially, and I'm sure that they must be having a lot of memorable things attached to them, and they can benefit from that. So I personally
Right.
feel there are tremendous possibilities.
Right. Interesting knowing that. But Faridun, tell us about when did you begin writing and what were your influences?
So I my father, as you know, he's a Gyan Award winning Urdu poet. He wrote lyrics from Rao Chan and Gaman and a few other movies. Um, One Scientific Academy Award as well, and very widely known and respected. My mother is she was a professor in English, and She writes in Urdu and English. So basically, I had the influences from both the sides. And I started writing very early. When I was not even in my teenage, I started writing. But when I was in teenage, I started taking writing very seriously. And some of, I think, my best works, I think they are from the age group when I was 18 or 19. Um, like I wrote a poem called Echo of Expectations when I think I was 18 or 19, and there is this line in that: "It is a sin to expect the voiceless screams." So this line has helped me, you know, and I think it can help anyone. That the moment you stop expecting, um, you have won a lot of barriers in your own mind. So it has helped me, and I know that I'm confident that it is something which is solid. Like this poem, I know that it is solid. Uh, there was a poem that Vishakha recited yesterday in Spaces, "A Dust of Sadness," which I wrote as at 18 as well. And there's this line in that: that smiles of humility are difficult to manage. I presented Tapsi my book, and she read that. She read those lines, smiles of humility and difficult to manage. And she said that this is identifiable. Um, so started a bit early, pretty early.
When you talk about Dust of Sadness, I think from Imtiaz Ali, Dia Mirza, and Rajkumar Rao. So we'd love to hear some of your poetry if you can recite some, Faridun.
Yeah, so I can recite Dust of Sadness because I saw a dream, dust of sadness scattered on the pavement of forehead, some specks lying as well on the unconscious eyelids, their weight a problem, a mild burden to bear. I wake up tired and realize the smiles of humility are difficult to manage.
Fantastic, Faridun. Very awesome. Must say
Thank
that.
you.
Now, I jump out of the very basic question out here. Thanks for reciting those lines. Like, Vishaka, I mean, I'll start with you. How did you first hear about the NFTs? And then probably I'll come to Faridun.
So for me, as I said, because I've been very active in the startup space since 2016, and 2016 is when I turned a film producer. Also, like I had been investing in films previously with Haramcore and Peddlers, but I went independent in 2016 and I produced a national award-winning film in 2016, and then Atkan Chatkan in 2022. Now, because the mindset was being absolutely independent, I got very involved with startups, and I had two startups, from chatbots to a SaaS tool in Canada. So when we were in Canada, we were exposed to the NFT ecosystem and the chatter that was happening around it as early as 2019. And but back then the pandemic had not hit us. So when the pandemic hit us, the NFT ecosystem just boomed. And so I think just the fact that we were in that part of the world gave us a lot of exposure to NFTs. And when it boomed here, we were ready to capitalize on the market here. And yes, so 2019, late 2019, and then of course, 1st June is when we launched WazirX NFT Marketplace.
Right. And Faridun, you? When did you first hear about the NFTs?
I heard it from Vishaka.
So
So I
Archit,
did I did read about it, but yeah.
Right.
we were actually having, I remember we were having a conversation with Priya Malik, and Priya had launched her NFTs, and Faridoon was kind enough to, have a conversation with me and Priya. And both of us, I think, ended up convincing him with all the gyan about NFTs, and that's how passionate we were about NFTs.
Right.
That's the first time I really came to just understand the entire the possibilities which are there. And after that, I started educating myself. And since then, I think every day there's something or the other. I make sure that I'm clued in as much as possible. I've seen a lot of videos. I've been following up very regularly. Like it's now it's a part of my day to day life.
Right. Right. I think since you were the early adopter of, kind of early advent of writers converging with technology, I believe, Faridun, as you communicated right before in this chat, I think it wouldn't take you much time with the NFTs too.
I hope so. I hope so. I find it fascinating because, say, you mentioned about my father's poetry that we have put to music. So we have several songs over a span of, say, 9 years now, but we never looked at it from a commercial point of view. They have been released by like professional platforms. They are available on all the streaming platforms as well. But I never looked at it from a commercial perspective. For me, it was art, and that it should reach out to people. And I'm very confident of these songs, these ghazals and nazms. Once you hear what we have to offer on WazirX, I think hopefully you'll like it. But I'm very confident that this is something solid. This is something that you wouldn't find easily. So now here is an opportunity to just take it to the world, because through blockchain it can sky is the limit now. So it can reach to a far wider audience, younger audience, all sorts of age groups, and it can continue to travel. So that is something that I'm really looking forward to. I find it fascinating.
Certainly. Well, I jump on to my next question now, which is like, what do you feel are the barriers in people's minds about NFTs, and how to explain it to them now? Vishaka, I think you must start this question, the answer to this question for sure.
Well, I think the biggest barrier is सबसे पहले तो people get scared. They feel, oh, NFT, blockchain, technology, you know. And we have this association in our head कि technology is very complex. What people forget is कि technology का function is to make our lives easier, you know. And if you have internet and if you have a smartphone, you have the ability to educate yourself. But it's just that mental block कि crypto क्या है, NFTs क्या है, blockchain क्या है. So the way I tell people is कि you want to understand it पहले तो just do a simple search on YouTube saying what is NFT, okay, and what is crypto. How do you want to know? If you want to know anything about crypto, simply download WazirX, and that's your biggest journey into the crypto space. पर लोगों का माइंडसेट क्या है, अच्छा NFT, अच्छा अब इसमें मेटामास्क वॉलेट कैसे इंटीग्रेट करेंगे, अरे हम डर गए इसमें तो बिकॉज दे सो यूज टू दी सीमलेस इंटीग्रेशन, आपके वॉलेट इंटीग्रेशंस जो होते हैं P2Ps एक्सेट्रा, दे फील कि जैसे ऑल दोज UPI पेमेंट गेटवे के थ्रू सब हो जाएगा. You have to realize that the technology is still in its nascent stage. It will take a year or two, or maybe for the technology to become even further seamless. तो yes, the steps are a bit clunky because you don't know कौन से wallet से कौन के दूसरे wallet में transfer होगा, blockchain और wallets में फ़र्क क्या है, those little nuances. But that is why we say that abhi, right now it is the time for early adopters and innovators who are joining in, and I think these are the folks who will make it seamless for the next set of people who will be onboarded. So the first barrier, I think, is just the fear. And of course, because of the vagaries around the region that we are in, उससे भी लोग डरते हैं. And I think वहाँ लोगों को बताना बहुत ज़रूरी है कि NFTs are accepted, they are a digital asset. उसके around जो regulation है, that is being worked on. So nothing to fear. Just an explanation wise is very simple. NFTs are nothing but आपका जो created content है, when it is put on blockchain, it's evidence and it's up there for sale.
Right. Faridoon, the question I think probably shifts to you. I think since you've been an early adopter, so were there any barrier in your mind about the NFTs, or do you see barrier in other people's minds from the fraternity?
See, personally, I've been excited from day one. As Vishakha would testify. So I've been since the day I came to know, and I think it's a fascinating new world. I'm especially very happy, especially for artists, say painters, for example, and many a times they don't get their due. And the way I feel, I'm observing the way, especially painters and artists, they don't have to go to an art gallery now, and they can get their art to people and make money out of it. I have a friend called Satish Acharya who's there on my WazirX. He's a fantastic cartoonist, and I can he is enjoying himself in the NFT space. And someone like him, he can this it definitely works for him. I can see that. I personally the way barriers in people's mind are, like, as things happen, people tend to have that fad hair, bubble hair, will burst, and all those things. Those are the things that I hear. And but I think there will always be all sorts of, I think, voices. I still remember Vishaka explained to me in one of the interviews the difference between fungible and non-fungible, and I think that makes it so simple that when something is unique, um, it has to be unique, and it has your signature. There's no one like that. It becomes non-fungible. I think it's pretty simple. So I genuinely feel people should should try and educate themselves a bit rather than just going by the hearsay and all these rumors that keep on floating. I think it's pretty easy to understand, and then I think at the end of the day, people have to just make their own choices. But I feel that for artists, for creators, for musicians, even for poets, I think this can be a great platform, and it has just started.
Right. Just to the audience, as Faridun said, I think probably one of the fundamentals which we have been maintaining it on all the live streams is do your own research, guys. I mean, before you, I think, jump into the bandwagon of NFTs and crypto, I think do your own research. That's kind of a must. Right. So, Faridun, I think probably I jump onto the main question. Like, tell us about your NFT drops now. I think the audience has been waiting to listen to that. And I'm being waiting to listen to that. What inspired you to choose this particular drops? And also, will make you sing one of your NFT drops too.
All right, so I think in totality there are going to be six drops. Two are not meant to be minted, and two are not meant to be monetized. One is it's a video of my journey in the Bollywood journey. It is having pictures of and selfies of me with various stars. And the second one is basically the journey of Dust of Sadness. I presented it to a lot of stars, including Mr. Salman Khan and Shahid and Mrinal Thakur and Tapsi and a lot of others. So we made like a nice video. Sonu Nigam had launched it. So their views and their opinions about the book and what they think about it. So that's another one that we are not using for commercial purposes. Then there are four NFC drops. The two are recitations of my father's poetry, his ghazals. One is a famous ghazal by which is called "Dil Cheez Kya Hai Aap Meri Jaan Lijiye Bas Ek Baar Mera Kaha Maan Lijiye," which is from the movie Umrao Jaan. And then there is another one, "वो बेवफा है हमेशा ही दिल दुखाता है मगर हमें तो बस एक वही शख्स भाता है." That's another one which is having some wonderful couplets. Then there are two nazms which we have put to music. One is "तुम मेरे कितने पास हो," which is a beautiful nazm. It's having very highly modern images, stuff like needle and spoon, wool that is, and table and all that stuff, which is beautifully incorporated. And then there's another nazm which we have put to music, which is called "वो अंधेरी रात की चाह थी." Uh, it's I think once again very nice poetry and something that best part is the poetry is not simplified because I genuinely feel that one should not simplify art because many a times when you keep on oversimplifying art, then in a way you are just um, just presenting just assuming that the the collectors or people who are listening to you or watching you, so maybe they are not intellectually that ripe. They can be. Uh, you should challenge them. I think we are in a time of Google and all sorts of options. If anyone wants to find out the meaning of any word that you feel is maybe not that simple, you can easily Google it and get to know about it. Many a times, the phonetics of a word can be so beautiful that you would want to just keep with yourself. You may not know the meaning, but you would still like the word. So yeah, that's it for the time being. Six NFTs as of now.
Well, perhaps that's not it, Faridun, because I think I would like to sing, probably you to sing one of the NFTs for us. I mean, if you can.
Sure. So there's
Yeah.
this nazm called "Tum mere kitne paas ho." It's like this: तुम मेरे कितने पास हो, मैं तुमसे कितना दूर हूँ, वो उलझा गोला ऊन का, ये टूटी सुई मेज पर, बुक शेल्फ बेतरतीब सा, ना 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 ना, तुम मेरे पास हो, मैं और तुमसे दूर हूँ.
Nice, really nice, Faridun. Thank you so much for singing this up.
Thank you very much.
Right. So now, I think from Bollywood to blockchain, I think what are some similarities and differences that you see between the sectors? Vishaka, I think you should take this on.
Um, Very simple again. Creators, everybody is a content creator. Even if you look at blockchain, I mean, coders are at the end of the day creators and artists. One would have not thought of them as that, but they are at the end of the day. And today you even see codes being sold as NFTs, right? So definitely that's one similarity. Second is, of course, as I said, the risk taking ability. हम लोग सब बहुत ही इंडिपेंडेंट थिंकर्स हैं एंड आई थिंक everybody, be it the entertainment segment or be it everybody who's dabbling in crypto, हम सब ने कहीं ना कहीं अपने घर वालों से, अपने फैमिली या फ्रेंड से सुना है कि are you sure you're in, is this stable enough, and yet we continue to be in this space and grow this together. तो ये दो बहुत बड़ी similarities हैं, I feel, in terms of the individual mindset and in terms of the content that we create. And of course Bollywood, I feel, is I feel blockchain, of course, is more organized, more there is a method to this madness. Bollywood, I would say, is all creative madness.
Right, absolutely. Well, we can only learn from both of you, actually. So I think Faridun, today is the launch, right? And what do you expect to achieve from this NFT drop? And what do you have planned next, actually, after this?
I find it so interesting and so wonderful that since the time WazirX, they've started the entire uh, publicity stuff around my NFTs, and so the level of interest which is there in say in my father's poetry, and say my work, that is very interesting, and it's only been 2-3 days. So I can already see that a lot of the younger audience, they are responding to what I'm offering. Like for example, the team at WazirX, they came up with a very fine idea that they'll have a 10-second sort of audio clip of Dil Cheez Kya Hai Aap Meri Jaan Lijiye from Umrao Jaan. And I received such wonderful responses for that. So um, and all of the say on Twitter, for example, those are younger voices. So it is fascinating. I find it already very very encouraging, and I just hope to take it forward. I already have many more ideas, and there are a lot of things that we should be coming up. In fact, say just one randomly that comes to my mind is I wrote this poem for Shah Rukh Khan's birthday recently. I think that can come up as a very fine NFT, and I plan to come up with that. It's a very fine poem. So I've written it myself, and with the level of popularity that Shah Rukh Khan has all across the world, I think there will be a lot of interest in it, and it's nice. It's short and simple, and I think it's nice because I got a great response for it when we had come up on his birthday. But I've not recited it yet. I've not come up in a audio format yet. This is
Right.
just one random example. I'm saying that there are many more.
Certainly.
If I may just add to that,
So,
Faridun, then I would recommend कि आपके पास जितनी beautiful poetries हैं that you've written for various artists, I think you should gift them to, gift it to them, because हमारे WazirX NFT Marketplace पे अब हमारे पास gifting feature भी है, जिसके through हम लोग NFTs gift करते हैं अब on occasions.
Definitely we can do that.
right. So, audience, please note that the WazirX NFT Marketplace has a gifting feature also, as Vishaka rightly pointed it out. So, yeah. So, I think you've been talking about Shah Rukh Khan a lot and his tweets, right? So, which Bollywood stars would you like to see in the NFT space? I'll start with Faridun first this time, right? I think one of the stars can be Shah Rukh Khan. I can surely understand now since you've mentioned him twice and thrice. Who are the others?
One more thing I just like to add. So I feel that I think this space is not going to be limited merely to Bollywood. I think we're having a very very thriving entertainment industry down south right now, which many would say that maybe it is challenging Bollywood right now with the level of uh, business that it is generating with its technical acumen, with its fan following. I think South industry is a is a massive case study. Vishaka has worked down south; she would understand that. So I think it's all India. There's Punjabi industry. There is so many Punjabi musicians, and Punjabi music is not limited to India. Punjabi music is all across the world. The UK, Canada, US, Australia. So many places Punjabi music is very very popular. Bengali cinema is another, I think, context itself. There are so many possibilities. You have Satyajit Ray and Ritvik Ghatak. So many possibilities you have in say Bengali industry, Assamese industry. You have so many. So I think we should not limit it idly to maybe Bollywood. There are tremendous possibilities as far as art and entertainment space is concerned in India. And apart from that, who are the people that I would like to see? There's so many possibilities. Shah Rukh Khan, I just mentioned to you randomly because I think Jack Darcy's tweet is something that I found very interesting. And I feel Shah Rukh is known because Shah Rukh has had an interaction with Jack when he came to India. That was hilarious on Twitter. And there can be many examples. Salman Khan is already in this space. So I feel there can be many. There can be many. I would love to see sessions of A.R. Rahman as an NFT. I think he's a magician. The way he functions, there's so many possibilities. There are, like say, Honey Singh, for example. I think he's a massive, I think, artist. Got a tremendous like popularity. Um, the entire story in itself is so fascinating. There are many. I think there are many, and I think
Right.
important part will be the uniqueness. They should be unique.
Right. I think, Vishaka, I would like to ask you the same question since you've been producing some significant films like Peddlers, right? Do you see films also jumping onto this bandwagon, the NFT bandwagon? Do you see cinema makers?
Absolutely. I mean, I know I, for one, will definitely be doing that with my future projects, you know. Uh, Now, the only thing is, because it is technology, people are a little wary, right? But NFTs do open a new stream of revenue. Earlier, you know, when we used to sell films, we used to sell various rights of the films. Ki aapke OTT rights, and you've got your theatrical rights, music rights, overseas rights, satellite rights, etc. Add to that the NFT rights now, again solely to be exploited on the blockchain. So this is definitely a new source of revenue. And again, what constitutes aapke behind the scene footage? You know, that is just we just do it for you know, behind the scene footage for engagement purpose. That can be converted into NFTs. Your posters, your trailers, etc. Everything can be converted into NFTs. If you know, if a film has been very well received, you can actually go a step back and immediately probably even release the first draft of the script as an NFT, you know, with those little hand notes by stars. Those can be those can be NFTs. NFTs make creativity is the key here. You know, it's how creative you can get. And yeah, so huge space. Let's see, I just hope that,
Right.
you know, with Faridoon coming in, we will see a wider reach of NFTs in this entertainment segment.
Well, I guess we're bound to see the world of Christopher Nolan and Darren Aronofsky and Mira Nair into the world of NFTs, I believe, in the future.
I
Absolutely.
just
See, I mean,
just add. I'm sorry. I'll just add one thing about what Vishaka said about the script part. So yesterday I did an interview with Deepika and Ananya and Siddhant and Shakun Batra for Geraya. And Deepika made a very interesting point that she likes to make notes on dialogues with pencil on the script, and maybe at times she maybe alters certain dialogues if she feels about that. So I think there are so many possibilities that can be a fantastic NFT, handwritten notes of Deepika Padukone on a particular script.
Right. Coming on to my next question now. I think to both of you, I guess, and specifically to Faridoon, I think before NFTs and digital art, what kind of art attracted you, Faridoon?
Uh, my wife is a painter. She's trained in that as well. That was one of the subsidiary subjects that she had. She paints really well. So we tend to be like going to say art exhibitions, and we tend to discuss amongst ourselves. My wife, my daughter is she follows a lot of artists, and she likes to know more about them on YouTube and other places. We tend discussions say over a cup of tea, and that's something that tends to happen. But now when I see the possibilities which are there on as far as NFTs are concerned, there's so many wonderful paintings that I've been observing of late. So I find it very fascinating.
What about you, Vishaka?
so for me, I think before digital art and NFTs, I mean, there are many forms of art. So for me, it was dramatic arts that really excites. It still excites me. But then that is a piece of art that you can experience and not necessarily own. So yes, and if if one has to just consider art, so to say, I must say that I don't think I was very evolved to understand art and the depth of it. So for me, art was something that MF Hussain did, and Gajagamini, and that was art, and Raja Ravi Verma, that was that heavy duty art. But now with NFTs, you realize that even the Archie's cards that we used as kids can be art, or those cry relief ke jo cards aate the, for a social cause, that can also be an NFT.
Okay, I'm going to ask you the $1 million question here. And I think, what is your take on the NFTs, which you've already covered, I think. But मेरा main question आप दोनों से ये है कि NFTs इतना good investment साबित क्यों हो रहा है? I mean, there's been already a buzz around it, right? So why is
Right.
it proving to be such a good investment?
Okay. So I'll go for this.
Yep.
So when you talk of NFT, right? So NFTs hai, NFTs marketplace hai. A marketplace has a creator and a collector. We've spoken from a creator perspective as to why it is so good. But the collector is the one who's driving this space simply because they are the ones who are putting their money in. Now, I'm a crypto investor as well. Okay. Today, and I'll give you a very basic, simplified example, and people can probably pull me apart in the comments later on saying, नहीं ये सही नहीं है, but I'll just have a very simplified view. अगर मैं आज 100 WRX खरीदती हूँ, okay, and when the market is dip में है, मैंने खरीद लिया, right? Or forget the dip part of it, I've invested in 100 WRX. उस same 100 WRX से I have invested 100 WRX, I also get an NFT if I buy an NFT. Tomorrow, even if the market goes down, I can still list my NFT for 400 WRX in the secondary market and get profits. So my risk is mitigated, once I invest in crypto via NFTs. And I think that is a great bonus point for me. एंड बिकॉज when we say कि हम सेकेंडरी मार्केट में ये 100 WRX का जो आपने NFT खरीदा है, मैं इसको 200 400 में भी क्यों लिस्ट कर सकती हूँ, simply because the value of the NFT is not just derived by the NFT, the art aspect of it, but it is heavily dependent and associated with the artist. So in Faridoon's case, it is not just the beautiful poetry that is written or recited, okay? It is his own credentials that bring a lot of value to the table, and his own growth in the market. And as an investor, I would invest in Faridoon.
Great. Fardeen, how do you see the future of these NFTs now? How do you see the future of these NFTs? Because you've been a writer, you've also been a poet, right? And you've also been into the entertainment sector. So how do you see the future of NFTs?
You know, I think my understanding of it is primarily from a creative space. For me, I think what makes me happy is that there are a lot of people who can benefit from it in terms of getting their due, because many a times, say be it music, be it a lot of other avenues. So the artists, they don't get their royalties properly and maybe on time, and they tend to get shortchanged. So first of all, here everything is very transparent, and there are no middlemen and all those things. So that is something which is really good, especially for artists, because artists at most times they tend to be these simple people who who are maybe they can be loners, and not that outgoing, and maybe they may not have that much of amount of business sense. Maybe some of them they do, but many times they don't. So it is a wonderful, I think avenue for them. um, I have read about so many artists who are wholeheartedly just concentrating on their art now, and because they know that they don't have to literally worry about how they're going to sell their art, and they're doing much more than what they would have done in say normal circumstances. Anyways, with COVID, a lot of things they closed down, so all these art exhibitions and everything they were not um, open in the first place. So, but with the digital world, I think it's literally booming right now. So I look at it entirely from a creative perspective, that I think it can do wonders for the for the creators, and I think a lot many people they will be inspired now. A lot many parents they would not. Um, just sit down their children and tell them that why maybe art is not a good idea, maybe being a creative person is not a good idea. They will see that yes, there are possibilities, and there are tremendous possibilities. So from a creative perspective, I think it's a wonderful opportunity.
Right.
Archit, if I can quickly chime in here.
Sure. Sure.
So from the creator perspective, globally, जब art galleries में art is showcased, 33% of that piece of art is sold. The success rate is 33%. On WazirX NFT Marketplace, 58% of the NFTs listed on our marketplace are already sold out. Brands have a success rate of 83%, going up to 100%. So from creator perspective, it is a great way to monetize your creation or your content in a much faster way. From a collector perspective, हमारे collectors have seen anything from 2x to 2000x profits via NFTs. So here the creator is benefiting, the collector is benefiting. So I think in future में when we talk, I see a future where everybody will either own an NFT or create an NFT, and I think that is the way to go.
Right. Quite splendid indeed. Right. So Faridoon, there's a final question here. Why did you choose WazirX NFT? I would want, and Vishaka would want, like kind of you choose it every time, but why did you choose us?
It is entirely because of that first session with Vishaka. I think one thing that all of us in say Mumbai or entertainment space we have learned, um, we have many long-standing relationships. Say personally, when people ask me, what is it, what is your wealth, I tell them the relationships that I've managed to develop over the years, and many people, they believe in me and they find me credible. I find that to be the ultimate wealth that I own. So when I spoke to Vishaka, so I'd spoken to her earlier for interviews, and I find her to be extremely dignified and very well informed. So I think it was a no-brainer. So I was very keen that whenever I have to start, I would want to do it with WazirX only. And I think they have a great team. And so before this session, I was speaking to Jyoteshwar, and he was helping me the minting power and all that. So they have a great team, and that I think also makes it a great experience. So I could not think of anyone else, and I'm having a great time.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you so
so
much.
much. Thank you so much,
I
Faridoon.
think this is the right time, Archit, to plug in कि अगर today Faridoon is launching his NFTs, and अगर आपको उन NFTs को collect करना है, you should come to nft.wazirx.org.org, basically nft.wazirx.org.
Yeah. Collectors, I hope you're listening it right. And I think Vishaka set the tone right for this. And I think thank you to both of you. And Faridun, I would just like to tell you that I've been a fan of your book on 9 Men and the Stories on Women. Did read those, and I think we wish you luck on this platform. That hope kind of it proves to be fruitful, and it was great learning from both of you. And since you shared your insights, so thank you for being here on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank, thank you, Archit.